I didn't move my fence. I bought the part of her house that was built on my land, by court order, and when the clerk read that line out loud, the room went still. Olivia Crane stared at the papers like they were smoking, and I realized bullies look huge until the measuring tape comes out. That's the hook, right? But it didn't start with a gavel. It started with a Saturday morning I'd been saving for all-week coffee in a chipped mug. Classic 90s on a low hum. The cedar posts smelling like rain. Kneeling by the back corner, double-checking a pin the surveyor set. Because I'm that guy, the binder guy, the save every receipt guy, the one who promised himself after his parents lost a home to a slick deal that he'd never get caught napping again. Then, heels on concrete, that precise click that says, "I'm here to make your day worse." No hello, no excuse me. Olivia stepped off the sidewalk, marched through my flower bed, planted a heel on my raised planter so she could literally look down on me, snapped a measuring tape like a badge, and said, 18 inches over 72 hours to remove it, Dorftors. Day and fines. She held up a tablet like scripture. Updated survey proprietary HOA documentation. And when I asked to see it, she smiled like a teacher about to grade me and said internal not required to share. Then she dragged the tape across my marigolds on the way out. You could hear the metal retract, and it felt like it was pulling something out of my chest. You're thinking, Evan, it's a fence, move it. But when your gut says something is off, you either listen or you spend the rest of the month arguing with yourself in the shower. So I laid out my survey, the plat, the permits, everything lined up. I went to bed angry and woke up to the smell of chemicals. Orange paint dripping down 3 boards. The word violation stenciled so hard, the droplets pooled in the dirt, and Stan across the street shuffled out in slippers, saying he saw Olivia's SUV circle at 5:30, stop for a minute, then pull away. That happened. I took photos, wrote down the time, Stan's words, the boot prints, the puddles, then found a note under my wiper, clipped with this weird green triangle paper clip. 1246 Birch, 1250 Birch, 1401 Aspen. Same script. Same 18 inches. You're not the first, so I knocked on doors, and 3 different stories matched like tiles. A deck torn down. A shed moved a family who sold fast after a flurry of letters with fees stacked like bricks you can't lift. While I was framing a temporary panel, my phone rang with a lawyer voice. Alan Pierce for the Cedar Hills HOA. Cease all construction immediately. And I kept tapping nails like a metronome, told him I had photos and a witness of vandalism, and he did that careful step-back lawyers do when they feel the floor tilt. I'm not aware of that allegation. He said, comply. Or we escalate, and I looked over at the timer. Olivia had said on her phone during the first scene. Yes, she actually started a countdown like I was a rotisserie chicken. 71 hours and change. I'm not loud. I'm stubborn. So I backed up everything to the cloud-labeled folders. 3 angles per photo screenshots with timestamps. And before dawn, I parked where I could watch her place without being obvious. Her garage rolled up, and she loaded bankers' boxes like someone who'd practiced not moving boxes labeled boxes. County records, HOA files. Survey data, drove to a storage lot, and slipped into Unit 314. I photographed the keypad, the door, her plate, and the camera. That would become my favorite neutral witness. The county building smelled like tired coffee. The clerk typed, frowned, typed again. Then printed a no records found certificate with a blue seal and said, Nothing has changed for Cedar Hills since 1988. I walked out holding it like a life jacket. 2 days later, I hired the independent crew. Orange vests, lasers, tripods, neighbors drifting out like birds to a wire, and Olivia barreled over in a robe saying, "You can't survey without board approval." And the lead surveyor smiled. Without smiling. Owner can survey their own parcel. They worked for 3 hours field notes. Said my fence tracked the old markers within a whisper and flagged anomalies along her additions. Not a win a breadcrumb, but enough to follow. I took those notes to the farmer's market and showed 2 neighbors at the honey stand. Quiet voice finger-tracing corners, steam rising off cups while rumors started drifting like mist by the berries. I heard legacy easements. A board member muttered historic plats, and Olivia didn't march with a binder. This time she watched and texted and let a net of doubt settle. And I'll be honest, it messed with me. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there was an old paper rule. You know what I mean? I sat under the kitchen lamp with my county certificate on the left and the field notes on the right, chest tight, until the doorbell rang. And Martha from 2 houses down, the quiet one with the gentle nod on dog walks, asked to come in. She laid my paperwork out, traced a seal with her finger, and said eels can be forged. Equipment can be rented. Timelines, can't forgers get tired and rush, keep digging. Then looked at me like she'd slid me a flashlight in a cave. At 2:43 a.m., 2 nights later, I watched Olivia and a tall guy move along my fence with tools, heard the metal ping of a survey stake. Popping flipped on my headlights, stepped out with my camera. The tall guy sprinted. Olivia froze with a crowbar and snapped. "You're harassing me. I'm calling the police," and I said very calm for a person whose knees felt like water. "Please do, we can trade case numbers? I have you on video tampering with markers." The crowbar hit the ground like a bell. After sunrise, a box landed on my porch. Twine tied neat. The same green triangle clip pinning a manila envelope inside were permits, loan statements and aerial photos with red lines so clear they made my stomach drop. Olivia's garage and primary bedroom bump-out extended 8 feet onto my lot. Not 18 inches of fence into hers, 8 feet of her house into mine. And the financials showed she was about $180,000 underwater, with a foreclosure clock ticking under 2 months. The permit trail said she'd used a survey she supplied with my old fence line treated as gospel. So I walked my edges with a laser-chalked small X's. Logged readings matched the aerials within inches. And by the time she realized what I was doing, I had numbers, dates, and a story you could follow without subtitles. She stormed across the street with 2 rent-a-bulldogs and tried to puff herself bigger. "You have no idea who I know. I'll bury you," and I kept my voice level. "You're being filmed. You just threatened me on my property." While Stan held his phone at that dad angle and 3 other neighbors drifted closer, you could feel the power tilt, so we scheduled a special HOA meeting. The room was packed, phones up the projector, humming like a nervous insect. Olivia and Attorney Pierce came in with briefcases and a deck that looked like it got graded by a museum. She went first. Parcel overlays, bold clauses, tidy language about property values and difficult homeowners. And I let her land everything. Because I knew what I had, then I plugged in my laptop and said, "Here's what Olivia doesn't want you to see. No speechifying. Just a timeline, the spray paint photos. Stan's statement, auto-upload. Screenshots with exact minutes. The no records found certificate with the county seal. The 2:43 a.m. video of her with the pry bar and the high-res aerial with parcel lines followed by the permits showing her submitted survey appendix treating my fence as the reference. Then I pulled the county site up and searched live, so nobody could accuse me of stage magic. No update since 1988. She jabbed a finger and shouted, "Entrapment volume up, control down." And that's when Martha stood, the whole room turned. Because authority is a thing you can hear in footsteps. Pierce blinked like he'd seen a ghost. "Judge Green," he whispered. And Martha opened a thick binder with tabs and said calmly that after months of complaints, she had reviewed records contacted former employees of a defunct firm tied to survey fraud. Found calls with 3 of them in March and April, traced $5,000 in payments to a private account, documented early morning visits to a storage unit registered to Olivia's sister's LLC, confirmed the county had no 2019 update, and obtained a licensed survey showing 8 feet of encroachment then. She said the quiet thing loud, "Tampering with markers is a felony, and we have video," and slid the fresh survey into camera view so the back row could pinch and zoom. Olivia went through stages, fury calculation, then a stillness that looked like a plug being pulled, and Pierce gathered his notebooks and said, "I'm withdrawing as counsel effective." Immediately, a board member called for an emergency vote to remove Olivia as president, and hands shot up like the tide. Then Martha dialed the district attorney with her voice on the tiny room speakers. Judge Martha Green retired multiple felonies. Suspect present evidence in hand, and you could feel everyone inhale. The management clerk read interim orders. Impound files, freeze enforcement, collect forged documents, appoint an acting board, and then read the line that brought the story back to the first 10 seconds. Regarding the encroachment Olivia Crane is ordered to convey to Mr. Brooks the portions of her improvements sitting on his parcel at fair market value, or remove them according to code. Payment due within 30 days, Olivia's face didn't break. It just emptied. And for the first time since she stomped my marigolds, she stepped back. That's where I end the story. At consequence, not confetti. Because the rest is messy and human. And honestly, I still wrestle with it. I bought the piece of her house that crossed my line on paper. It's justice in real life. It's strange to hold a cashier's check with your name and know what it cost for the room to believe you. But here's what I learned. You don't need to match a bully's volume. You need to outlast them with evidence and patience, and neighbors who remember how it's supposed to work. Breathe. Ask for record numbers. Label your folders, and don't confuse someone's certainty for the truth. You know what I mean? Tell me what you think. Did I go too far? Was buying that slice of her house justice, or just a cleaner kind of revenge? Where do you draw the line between protecting your home and becoming the thing you fought? Drop where you're watching from. Your take your own HOA story. If you've got one, because the next person sitting under a yellow kitchen lamp at 2 a.m. might need your map.